So, there's the present tense. It's easy and simple in English. I see, you see, he, she, it sees. It's happening now, and we can easily represent this in Latin with the present tense verb. Video for I see, vides for you see, and videt for he, she, it sees. The verb in Latin changes when the subject changes, and often you'll have the verb like video without a given subject, and you'll just know that I is the subject because the video ends in an O. There's a plural for this too, if the person who's doing the action is more than one. That would be videmus for we see, videtis for you all see, and vident for they see. The only other thing to know about the present tense is that there are 4 different conjugations in which the vowel before the ending is slightly different. Now that's the present active, and when I say active, I mean that the subject is doing the action of the verb. In the sentence, Marcus puellam videt, Marcus sees the girl, the subject Marcus is doing the action, he is seeing the girl, and the accusative puellam is receiving the action. What if we wanted to say, though, the girl is seen by Marcus? Instead of an active verb, we would translate is seen with the passive form of video. This video will explore the conjugation of the present tense in the passive voice. The rules for forming the present passive are very similar to the active voice. We first begin with our present stem, which is the second principal part, the present active infinitive, but without the RE ending. Then we add the passive personal endings. So instead of OST mustis und, we're going to use the R, ris, ter, mer, mini, and unter. So for a first conjugation verb like amo, the active conjugation in the present tense is amo, amas, amat, amamos, amatis, amant, while the passive conjugation is amor, amaris, amatur, amamur, amamani, amantur. So see how the translations are slightly different too. I am loved, you are loved, he, she, it is loved, we are loved, you all are loved, and they are loved. From these translations, you can see how the action of the verb now happens to the subject, rather than the subject itself doing the action. We translate the present passive with the present tense form of to be. So here, I am, you are, he, she, it is, etc. And then we put the past participle of the verb. So here, that's loved. A second conjugation verb, like habeo, has a strong E in the stem. And so its conjugation is habeor, haberus, habetur, habemur, habemini, and habentur. Again, see how the translation reflects the passive nature of this verb. A third conjugation verb, like duko, has the same variations in its stem vowel that we see in the active voice. However, the short I before the ris ending in the second person singular changes to an E. So dukor, dukeris, duketur, dukimur, dukimini, and dukuntur. Again, here are the translations. And finally, a fourth conjugation verb like audeo has the strong I at the end of its stem, audi. So the vowel before the ending stays that long I. Audeor, audirus, auditur, audimur, audimini, audeuntur. This fourth conjugation verb has the same patterns of long vowels that we have seen in the first and second conjugations, by the way. The I is long in the second and third person singular, and the first and second person plural. With passive verbs, since the subject receives the action, you sometimes will expect to see the doer of the action in the sentence, but we show this with the ablative case, either the ablative of agent with the preposition ab or a. This is used with people. So, puella a Marco amatur. The girl is loved by Marcus. Or we use the ablative of means, which doesn't use a preposition. This is used with objects, inanimate things. So, scutis defendimur. We are defended by our shields. That's the present passive in a nutshell. The key steps to keep in mind in conjugating are these. First, identify the present stem, which is the second principal part, the present infinitive, without the RE. Then bring the first principal part down. This is the first person singular form anyway, and it's already given to us. So then to the present stem, you add the personal endings, the passive personal endings. Once you've done this, your verb should have the endings or, ris, tur, mur, mini, untur. But take note of the differences in vowels in the third conjugation. The short E changes to an I in most forms, except for the second person singular. And also, the third and fourth conjugations end in an untur. In most ways, the passive is just the active in the present tense, with a different personal ending.